as we all know, the pro wrestling world is full of insane stories and all of these crazy things that have happened throughout the history of pro wrestling. But today's topic is worst wrestling names ever. I went ahead and asked all of my YouTube subscribers to send some in and let me know which ones they think are some of the worst names that we've heard in of all time. And we got quite a list to get into. So I'm going to go ahead and run down what you, the people, think are some of the worst wrestling names of all time. In no particular order, we're going to kick things off with Shorty G. So I know everyone, the second they heard me say that, they just went, oh, why do you have to remind me, Denise? This was Chad Gable's name for a period of time. And it was really messed up because we know that Chad Gable is, not a tall guy. He's not 6 feet. But Chad Gable is a really damn good wrestler, as many of you guys have seen. So reducing him to the name of Shorty G, it was just super disrespectful. Now, many of you guys have heard about some of the craziness that went down in WCW. And of course, there's a million different stories and things we can talk about in regards to WCW. But for today's topic, here's a fun one. Well, I don't know if fun is the right word actually, but Bill DeMott, you guys all know Bill DeMott. He went by a couple of names, Hugh E Rection and General Erection. I'm sorry, but I cannot get through this video without laughing my ass off. I literally had to pause and go think about how the hell do I even talk about these names? Let's let that be pillow talk. Let's not be bringing pillow talk to the pro wrestling ring, okay? They just get worse and worse, guys. I don't even know how to top that one. You're probably thinking, what's going to top that on the list? Bastion Booger. Now, unless you're 7 years old, I can't imagine you making any other face but oh, what? Can you imagine that being your pro wrestling name? Mike Shaw had to go with the name Bastion Booger, and unfortunately, they also put him in some gear that I don't even know how to describe. But this has to be up there in some of the worst gear as well as the worst wrestling name ever. Chances are, if you're watching this video, you know who Stone Cold Steve Austin is. And you know that Stone Cold is one of the coolest, most badass pro wrestlers in WWE history. All right. And I don't even have to explain to you the Stone Cold Steve Austin legacy. All right. That's for another video, another time. However, do you think that Stone Cold Steve Austin would have gone on to sell a bunch of t-shirts, make the Attitude Era as hot as it was? Do you think that you would be mimicking the guy, flipping people off, doing the beer chugging thing, Stone Cold Stunners, if the man was not named Stone Cold Steve Austin, but instead was named Chili McFreeze? You're probably going, Denise, nah, what? What are you talking about, girl? You're crazy. Chili McFreeze was one of the name options that was given to Stone Cold Steve Austin in WWE when he suggested that his character should be more cold, more ruthless, and they gave him a bunch of names, and one of them was Chili McFreeze. Insane. Ain't no way Chili McFreeze was going to freaking be as big as Stone Cold Steve Austin. Abso-freaking-lutely never. Chili McFreeze, that's a freaking ice cream that you get at Albertsons. I don't know. It's not Stone Cold Steve Austin, though, and it's not one of the biggest wrestling stars of all time. Thank God Chili McFreeze did not happen. And since we're on the topic of Stone Cold Steve Austin, I'm going to have to throw in Ringmaster in there because, yeah, no. Now let's run down a couple of names that you've heard in the last couple of years. Tell me if these sound familiar. Reckoning, Retaliation, T-Bar, Mace, Slapjack, Doudrop. I'm all for making things work, man. And I'm so happy for everybody that can make things work. But damn, they set them up for failure from the very beginning. And since we're on it now, Doudrop. Bless Piper Niven's heart for having to go out there as Doudrop. What does Doudrop even mean? Every time I hear Doudrop, I think gumdrop. Every damn time. Can you imagine going out there and being as talented as Piper is and wanting to feel your very best and your most confident, but having to go out there as Doudrop? I can't. Next, please. Alrighty, here's a fun one. All right, so who remembers Henry O. Godwin and Phineas I. Godwin? I do. So a couple of years ago, I went back and rewatched every single WrestleMania, and I was dying when I realized that their names were the initials for Hog and Pig. Think about that. Hog and Pig. Now, a popular one, which many of you guys know, but it has to be mentioned here on the list. You all know Kane as the big red monster, the big red machine. A lot of us were fans of Kane growing up. Well, do you think you would have been a fan of Isaac Yankem D.D.S? Probably not. That was, of course, Kane's original gimmick as the dentist, and Isaac Yankem. Bro, I would never, ever in a million years go to the dentist if that was my dentist's real name. So, honestly, in terms of this being like a horror name, great. Pro wrestling name, pass. Now, a lot of these have been funny, cringe, embarrassing. This one, though, this one's just wrong, guys. This one was sent in from the Kyoput, who says WCW is always good for bad names and gimmicks. There is a particularly notorious story from 1996 during their build-up to their uncensored pay-per-view. A character named the Final Solution was debuted. The name is, of course, the Nazi government code name for what we call the Holocaust. The name was quickly changed to the Ultimate Solution, and WCW claims they had no idea what Final Solution meant. Now, what do you think of when you think of Beaver Cleavage? Legit, what pops into your head? Would it be a pro wrestler? Beaver Cleavage? This was the name that they gave Mosh, who you guys know from the Headbangers, but at one point he was going by Beaver Cleavage. And just in case you don't trust me, this is directly from Wikipedia. Take a look at this. He was renamed to Beaver Cleavage, a reference to the TV series Leave It to Beaver. He appeared in black and white vignettes with his mother, the voluptuous Miss Cleavage, and the two would exchange sexual innuendos. Example, Miss Cleavage would offer Beaver some of mother's milk when he complained that his cereal was dry. The gimmick was quickly scrapped via a work shoot promo in which Warrington supposedly gave up the character and retailored. When they say times have changed, I think this is what they mean by that. Can you imagine trying to make that fly in 2025? But just because we're in 2025 doesn't mean that we don't get silly names. Here's a recent one that we've been all trying to cope with. Edge in WWE went over to AEW. Adam Copeland cut his name down to Cope for no reason. Like, no one told him to. He just did it for whatever reason. And no one likes it. Next up on the list, you cannot not mention this one. So we all know Triple H by a million different names, right? Hunter Hearst Helmsley, Paul Levesque, Triple H itself, what else? The cerebral assassin, the game, the king of kings. Well, my friends, at one point, Triple H was also known as Terra Ryzing. They really tried to make this into a two-name thing, as in Terra the first name and Rising the last name. Why didn't they just put it all together? Terra Ryzing. I don't know. I don't even know what I was saying. Next up on the list, how would you feel if you were signed to a promotion and you were told, okay, your character is going to be that of a NASCAR driver? You're like, all right, sweet, I guess, right? Not too bad. NASCAR driver, sure, fine. Now, what if I told you your first name was going to be Thurman? Maybe not loving it, right? But fine, could live with it. And then I said your middle name or your moniker was going to be Sparky. Yes, Sparky, like a dog. And your last name, Plug. Now put it all together, my friends. Thurman, Sparky, Plug. What does that even mean? What does that even mean? Thurman Sparky plug. I think of dogs and I think of plugs. In what world? That doesn't even make sense. At least not to me. But Thurman Sparky Plug was once the name that a hardcore Holly had to go by, and bless his heart because that was absolutely god awful. I think I would have rather just pulled the plug. Curtis Axel at one point had to go by Michael McGillicutty. Try spelling that out. Michael McGillicutty on NXT. Sorry, I don't have anything quick-witted or funny to say about this. I'm just dying at this point. Some other names that were thrown in here. Scripps. Oh, bless Scripps. That was so bad. Not only was the name bad, the gimmick was bad, the wardrobe was bad. Oh, that was just bad across the board. Dick Togo. Hey man, I'm gonna have Dick to go. I did not just say that on camera. I'm moving on from this. Now, I've been mentioning a lot that people threw in here. I gotta mention one of my own. Prince Albert. About a couple of years ago, I learned what Prince Albert actually meant. I don't want to tell you guys that here. If you want to find out on your own, please do. But if you Google it, do not just type in Prince Albert, though. Make sure you at least put WWE Prince Albert, or else you're going to see some things that you don't want to see. All right, I'm warning you. Anyways, there you guys have it. A huge list of worst wrestling names. What name do you think should be mentioned on this list that was not mentioned on this list? Go ahead and comment in the comment section below if I forgot one and you're like, damn it, Denise, you forgot to mention this one. How did this one not make the list? Well, make sure to include it in the comment section below. Thank you guys so much for watching. As always, I hope you guys found this video entertaining. And before you go, don't forget to check out this video because this is a video that YouTube thinks that you're going to like. So make sure to check it out. And also don't forget to subscribe to the channel. And I'll catch you guys back here for more pro wrestling content. Bye, everyone.